She didn't just beat the world number one. She shattered the illusion around her. 58 minutes. That's all it took for Alexandra Eala to turn Indian Wells from a prestigious tournament into the stage of a sporting earthquake. Not a practice court, not a lucky day, not a slow collapse from a favorite. This happened under the burning California sun, on one of the most iconic hard courts in the world, in front of thousands who came expecting routine dominance from the queen of women's tennis. Instead, they witnessed the arrival of a new force. Because what unfolded that afternoon was not an upset. It was a takeover. To understand how a 20-year-old Filipina dismantled the most feared player in the sport, you have to go back years before the desert crowd rose to its feet in disbelief. You have to go back to Manila, where a young girl with relentless focus first picked up a racket. You have to go back to the long training sessions, the quiet sacrifices, the early mornings when no cameras were present and no headlines were being written. And then you have to go to Spain. At the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Alexandra Eala was not treated like a future celebrity. She was treated like an unfinished product, surrounded by discipline, by structure, by the philosophy of grinding excellence into muscle memory. She learned how to build her game layer by layer. Footwork, balance, defensive patience, offensive timing, emotional control. She didn't train for applause. She trained for inevitability. When 2025 began, she was ranked 143 in the world, a number that, on paper, places you far from the spotlight. Analysts mentioned her as a promising prospect, a nice phrase, a polite acknowledgement, nothing more. But what rankings couldn't show was the quiet transformation happening beneath the surface. Every defeat became data. Every tight three-set loss became tactical study. She wasn't discouraged by setbacks. She dissected them. She didn't just ask, "Why did I lose?" She asked, "What exactly failed, and how do I eliminate it?" Her serve gained bite. Her return became a weapon. Her baseline exchanges grew heavier, deeper, smarter. She began stepping into rallies instead of surviving them. Then came March 2025, the Miami Open. She entered as a wild card, the tennis equivalent of a hopeful invitation. Most players in that position aim to win a round or two, gain experience, maybe turn a few heads. Alexandra Eala detonated the draw. First, she defeated Yelena Ostapenko, a former Grand Slam champion known for explosive power. Then she took down Madison Keys, another major champion with one of the heaviest forehands on tour. And then came the match that forced the tennis world to stop scrolling and start watching. She faced Iga Swiatek, the world number 2. She didn't flinch. She won in straight sets. Not chaotic, not lucky, not dependent on unforced errors. Clean, calculated, commanding. By the end of that tournament, she had become the first wild card in WTA history to defeat 3 Grand Slam champions in straight sets at a single event. The headlines wrote themselves. The disbelief was global. But what made that run truly dangerous wasn't the shock value. It was the composure. She looked like she belonged. By the end of 2025, she had climbed to world number 50. She captured a WTA 125 title. She made history at the US Open, becoming the first Filipino in the Open era to win a Grand Slam singles match. She played main draws at every major. She earned nearly $1 million in prize money. More importantly, she developed something that cannot be coached into existence: authority. So when 2026 began, she wasn't chasing legitimacy anymore. She was hunting elevation. Indian Wells is not just another tournament. It is atmosphere. It is scale. It is weight. The stadium feels like a Grand Slam cathedral, and the desert air carries a particular kind of pressure. Players don't just compete there. They are tested there. And sitting at the very top of the draw in 2026 was Aryna Sabalenka, world number 1. A thunderclap serve. A ruthless baseline assault. A player who had bulldozed her era into submission. Fresh off another dominant major campaign. Feared, respected, expected to cruise. When the draw revealed a potential 4th-round clash between Sabalenka and Eala, Most experts barely blinked. Yes, Eala had upside. Yes, her ceiling was real. But Sabalenka was inevitable. Except inevitability is fragile when it meets preparation. The match began under a flawless California sky. The stadium buzzed with anticipation, but most expected routine control from the top seed. From the very first return, the energy shifted. Eala stood on the baseline with a stillness that bordered on eerie. No visible nerves. No rush swings. Just clarity. Sabalenka's serve exploded off her racket, cracking through the desert air at over 180 kilometers per hour. Eala absorbed it. Not defensively. Not reactively. She redirected it deep into the corners, neutralizing the very weapon that had broken so many opponents before her. Sabalenka attempted her usual blueprint: overpower, dominate, rush. It didn't work. Eala stepped inside the court. She attacked second serves. She elongated rallies just long enough to extract positioning advantages before finishing with fearless precision. The first set ended 6-2. A murmur rippled through the stands, that rare sound of collective recalibration. The second set wasn't a correction from the world number one. It was confirmation from the challenger. Eala didn't retreat into safety. She escalated. Her footwork was electric. Her timing surgical. Every cross-court exchange felt like a trap being set. Sabalenka pressed harder. Swung bigger. Eala responded smarter. Passing shots down the line. Angled returns. Defensive gets that flipped into offensive strikes within 2 shots. The scoreboard moved quickly. 6-2. 6-1. 58 minutes. The world number one stood stunned. The crowd rose in a wave of disbelief that turned into thunder. Alexandra Eala lifted her arms. For a split second, the composure cracked, replaced by a flash of overwhelmed joy. The kind that arrives when preparation meets destiny. Within minutes, the digital world erupted. In the Philippines, it was beyond celebration. It was collective pride ignited. Globally, analysts scrambled to reframe conversations they had been comfortable having just hours earlier. This wasn't a fluke. Sabalenka hadn't played poorly. Eala had played brilliantly. And in her post-match press conference, she didn't roar. She didn't dramatize. She said calmly, "I've believed in myself for a long time. I just needed the world to see it too." That sentence carried more power than the match itself. Because belief without evidence is hope. Belief backed by execution is inevitability. For years, the sport has searched for the next generational disruptor. The player capable of not just challenging the hierarchy, but reshaping it. Many have shown flashes. Few have sustained them. Eala's trajectory isn't built on flashes. It's built on pattern. Victories over champions. Ranking climbs backed by performance. Calm under escalating pressure. An upward curve that hasn't plateaued. And she is still only 20. She has yet to reach a Grand Slam quarterfinal. Yet to defend a major title. Yet to fully peak physically or tactically. The version that dismantled the world number one in under an hour is not the final form. It is the introduction. In interviews leading into 2026, she spoke plainly. She wants to win slams. She wants to be world number one. Not as a dreamer, but as a planner. That is what makes her dangerous. Ambition paired with structure. Confidence paired with evidence. 58 minutes changed the perception of women's tennis. But the deeper transformation was internal. The locker room felt it. The top players felt it. The aura shifted. Because once you prove you can dismantle the best player in the world with composure and clarity, you no longer enter tournaments as a hopeful. You enter as a threat. Alexandra Eala walked into Indian Wells ranked 32 in the world. She walked out as something far more powerful than a number. She walked out as a warning. And if she can do this at 20, if she can neutralize dominance, silence doubt, and electrify an entire nation in under an hour, then the real question is no longer whether she will contend for Grand Slams. The real question is how soon the rest of the tour realizes that the era they thought was secure is already being rewritten.